None of these things by themselves are catastrophic, and I don't mean to seem like they are. But together, collectively, they create a kind of mental congestion that's sometimes hard to ignore. And maybe as you're listening, you're recognizing this kind of mental congestion in your own life. Hi, my friend, and welcome to the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. I'm Dell, and with God's help, I've overcome some of the toughest trials in life that I could ever have imagined. Do you find yourself struggling to move beyond a heartbreak or a hardship, asking God, why me? Well, I'm here to help women just like you heal and build the resilience to overcome life's greatest trials. If you long for joy and confidence again, this podcast is for you. So grab your headphones and those hardships. Let's talk. Hey there, my friend, and welcome back to Bounce Back Black Woman. I want to say right off the top that this episode is going to feel a little bit different than many that you're used to. And that's because it's a little bit slower. It's more reflective. And it's coming from a very real place in my life right now. And I want to talk about something that I've been noticing in myself lately. Something that I suspect many of you might be experiencing as well. And that's mental overload. And I'm not really talking about the dramatic kind, not the hair is on fire, everything is on fire kind of mental overload. I'm actually talking about the quieter, heavier kind that builds up when a lot of things, practical things, emotional things, relational things, are all asking for our attention at the very same time. And I'll be clear, this episode isn't really about fixing that. It's about taking notice of it and understanding it and embracing it and telling the truth about what it feels like to carry a lot in this particular season. For me, this season has felt full in ways that don't always show up on the surface. There's been emotional weight, still processing the end of a corporate career that ended abruptly, still holding the shock and sadness of losing a pet, and still sitting with grief that doesn't demand attention every day, but it hasn't really disappeared either. And then there's also the practical weight of life. Technology issues, computer organization, household tasks that seem like they pile up quickly but quietly. Preparing for things like an impending blizzard coming my way, because life doesn't pause just because you're tired. And then there's the physical and mental weight that comes with getting older. I know that all too well. Annual checkups, more specialists, more referrals, more appointments to manage, and a deeper awareness that caring for your health now requires more intention than it ever did in the past. And layered on top of that is this major identity shift. No longer being in corporate, wearing multiple self-employment hats, holding both the freedom and the pressure that comes with building something on your own. None of these things by themselves are catastrophic, and I don't mean to seem like they are. But together, collectively, they create a kind of mental congestion that's sometimes hard to ignore. And maybe as you're listening, you're recognizing this kind of mental congestion in your own life. For you, it might look like caring for an aging parent, which comes with managing doctor visits, medications, and the growing responsibility that comes with watching someone that you love need more and more support over time. Or maybe you're juggling your own career while at the same time navigating the realities of parenting a neurodivergent child, advocating, coordinating care, adjusting your own expectations, and constantly recalibrating. It could mean feeling trapped in a job that is slowly draining your energy and your joy, but it feels impossible to leave because stability matters. Or maybe you're carrying the emotional weight of what's happening politically in this country. And I mean watching policies and rhetoric and hatred and decisions impact people that you love, your community, or even your own personal sense of safety and belonging. None of these things that I mention live neatly in one moment or one emergency, my friend. But they do quietly demand attention, and they take up real mental and emotional space. So here's the honest realization that I've been sitting with. I'm learning that I'm not as good at juggling it all as I once was. And I don't say that with shame. I say it with awareness. There was a time in my life when I could hold many roles, many responsibilities, many emotional threads, and keep moving without much hesitation or pause. But this season feels different. And it's not because I'm weaker. It's not because I'm incapable. It's because life is asking for a different kind of attention now. I'm noticing that when too many things compete for my mental energy, my creativity gets quieter. My patience gets shorter. My nervous system stays just a little bit activated around the clock. And that has been an important signal. Not a failure, but a signal. Mental overload isn't a sign that something has gone wrong. So I don't want you to walk away with that thought. Mental overload is often a sign that something has shifted or changed and is requiring something different from you now. So here's the reframe that I'd like you to consider. We live in a culture that celebrates endurance, pushing through, keeping it all together, managing everything without dropping a ball. But there's very little language for what happens when capacity shifts, when what used to be manageable now requires more margin, when juggling stops feeling impressive for the world and starts feeling expensive to your soul. My friend, mental overload isn't always asking us to do more. Sometimes it's simply asking us to do differently, to slow the pace a little, to simplify systems, to acknowledge grief instead of ignoring it or working around it, to stop expecting ourselves to operate at the same speed that we once did. In essence, sometimes it's asking us to give ourselves grace. And that's not regressing. That's wisdom in action. And I think that many of us are learning, sometimes reluctantly, that this season of life isn't about proving how much that we can carry. It's actually about learning what we no longer need to carry by ourselves. So if any of this resonates with you, I want you to hear this. Mental overload doesn't mean that you're falling apart, because I've had to tell myself that many times. It doesn't mean that you're behind, and it doesn't mean that you're failing at life. It might simply just mean that life has become more complicated, more layered, and your nervous system is asking for care, not self-criticism. You might be holding grief that hasn't had a clear place to land. You might be navigating changes in your own or someone you love's health, work, or identity. You might be tired in a way that rest alone doesn't fully solve. And if that's you, I want you to hear this and hear this clearly. You are not broken. you're becoming more aware. So I don't have a nice, neat little bow to tie around this episode, friend. I just don't. And that's intentional in a way, because sometimes the most honest thing that we can do is name exactly where we are, own it, and speak it without rushing to meaning or resolution. So if you're in a season of mental overload, I invite you to be gentle with yourself and to notice what's actually asking and begging for your attention, and then direct it there. I'm also asking for you to release this expectation that you should be able to juggle everything the way that you always have. Because this isn't about doing less because you're less capable. It's about doing life differently because you are wiser now. If you want a gentle place to reflect and recalibrate, I'm going to send or place the link to the Bounce Back Guide and the Bounce Back Journal in the show notes. So take that one simple step, scroll down and click the link, because I guarantee you both of them will help you in this season of mental overload. So, the last thing I have for you is this. I want you to be patient with yourself, my friend. This season doesn't require your perfection. It really doesn't. It requires your honesty. And so sit with that, embrace it, and give yourself the hug that you need. And I will be back with the next episode soon. Well, that's it for today, my friend. I really hope this episode inspired, encouraged, or just plain comforted you. If so, please share it with a friend who might be struggling in her own healing journey. And if you take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, you'll help other women find encouragement through their heartbreak. Remember that God is holding your hand along this journey, and guess what? I'm holding the other. Life is short, so bounce back, Black woman.